Hello guys, welcome to Train Sim TV. Happy New Year from myself and thank you for joining us. You join us for a quite a special video. It's the release video actually of the Cumbrian coast. Now the route came out on New Year's Eve. It's literally taken me till now to get this video done. It's been absolutely chaotic through the Christmas holidays at home, as you can imagine, with kids running around and stuff. So I've not been able to do the video. Finally getting there. Got some peace and quiet so I can get a little video done. It's going to be done in two parts. So the first section is the actual Cumbrian coast side of things. So we're going to do from the north end, from Millom to Barrow-in-Furness for the first part. And then the second part will be the Furness line. We'll probably do that all the way through to maybe Cardiff, maybe Preston. We might be able to split it into three. Ideally probably do it as two, but we'll see how we go on that one. Try and keep it in a decent time frame, to be fair, to not bore you. Right, yeah, so Cost 37. Northern Loco Hold. This is the main reason why I actually built the route. Myself and Mark, we did quite a few days out on these local hold services, and that was the sort of thing stating like, yeah, let's build the route. I want it in TS. I want to drive it. I've enjoyed riding them. Let's drive them in TS. So let's crack on with it. So 4 years ago, the route was actually started. It's had it's quite a long road in its production. It started off as originally an add-on to Northern Lines, the original Northern Lines before the electric route came. So the track was laid on was from Preston all the way through to Millom by Mark, and then I started building the scenery. We started working from at Barrow-in-Furness, and then started working at the north end here at Millom. I've even done some bits and pieces around Whitehaven, but that actually isn't really the focus in this because it's going to get ripped out and started again. But yeah, I just did various bits and pieces. And then about a couple of years ago, I proper knuckled down with it and thought, right, we need to get it finished. So we originally were going to go for Barrow to Millom. So we were working with that. The route got split away from Northern Lines. It made into its own entity rather than having a pointless Northern Lines on there, because you don't really do in the service. I think there was like one on that. So yeah, it was split off for that reason. So onwards from there, we carried on, and then last year, last January just gone, we was actually at a stage where we was going to release the first like 20 miles, but then we thought, well, let's continue it, let's add everything. So at that point we managed to get permission to merge the route on the workshop one, which was the Morecambe Bay route, which was done by Phil Terr. You may know him from UK Train Sim days. PJT 1978 I think his username was. He gave us permission to use his workshop route and merge that on, saving us a huge amount of time working on scenery that's already been done. So we merged that on, and then we finished and closed the gaps and stuff. On top of that, we approached Speedy Pete Mitchell from ATS, if we could potentially merge in a chunk of Preston track to make use of the Preston model that came with Missing Link. So Peter agreed to that. He sorted that out with us, and that became that. So it meant we didn't have to do an awful kit bash like we've seen in previous years, like stuff that came with West Coast Overshap, the same as with Northern Lines. I didn't want that for the route. I wanted it to be all singing and dancing, and there was a model available, so let's get it in. So that happened, and then after that it all came. You've seen the streams and stuff like that. Everything came as it was. So what we're going to do is we're going to join this 2 Charlie 40 Barrow service, and this has come from Carlisle. So we're just outside Millom station, so we're going to call up the stations along the way, and then take a look at all the scenes on that as well. Just going to show you bits and pieces. So good morning, driver. You are working 2 Charlie 40 to Barrow-in-Furness with 37,610 as your traction in the southern direction. You'll then change ends at Barrow-in-Furness to work 2 Charlie 49 back towards Carlisle. You'll end that service then to Millom, basically. We're not going to do both ways, we're going to just do one way to Barrow, and the second part will continue onwards south from there. So we're just coming to the station now. So all the scenarios that come from the north end of the route actually start as a rolling start to save you faffing about. Just sat there setting the train up, so it's all in theory should be set for you and up and running by the time you're there. So do be ready, it will catch you out otherwise. So all them usually like load a scenario up, and then you go, oh, I'll go and make a brew and come back and it'll be ready for me. Before you know it, you're halfway through the route. So stop there. So amazingly, the route's already at 1.2. There's been a number of updates as well for the route, addressing bits and pieces, fixing bits and that. So if you downloaded the route on the release, go back and grab the update and get that for yourselves. And I think that might be the wrong way around, actually, that BSO. Ignore that. I will take a look at that and probably flip it around and get another update out at some point. Yeah, go and grab the updates and that, because they will actually help out if you've been having issues with, such for example, you may have seen loads of signals in your stations. Those are actually stopping points for car markers. Those got fixed. 4Aspect Simulations gave us the files to put in with the route, just to make it a lot easier for you guys at home, so you'd have to keep re-downloading bits and pieces. So thank you to Benedict and of course Sinks as well. They both worked on that pack. So the stations on the route to Barrow, you have Millom, you then got Green Road, Foxfield, Cumbrian-Furness, Ascam and Barrow. So those will be the stations that you'll see on this this video today. The route itself does focus on 20 stations off the line, starting from Preston in the south, and then again all the way down to Millom in the north. Starts on the West Coast Main Line, and then it travels up to Carnforth, and then you leave the West Coast Main Line onto the Furness Peninsula route. You then go on to Barrow, and then you do then transfer over to the Cumbrian coast. The route comes with 12 scenarios as well, focusing on rail tours, passenger service, loco hold, and there's a couple of freight bits on there as well. The freight ones focus on the nuclear flask workings. The route itself as well is based in 2015. If you're a scenario creator and you want to make something modern, as in the current period, you can get away with doing the electrical stuff at Preston. The track to Blackpool North has been electrified, but there is no wiring beyond the bridge at Fowl Junction. But at least that way you can make a modern era scenario. So next for us we have Green Road. So the route, again, it's available from on-track simulation. Link is in the description below. Do go and take a look if you're interested. Please, 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 please do go and make sure you've got all the requirements, or if not most of them. If you haven't got them all, maybe have a look anyway. You may be surprised. It may work quite well for you. You're only missing a couple of bits and pieces, but do make sure you read the requirements first of all. Another reminder is as well, do make sure all your requirements are up to date as well, because sometimes packs can have an update and you may have missed these. That's just one thing to note. Maybe like one, for example, is the Just Trains Common Library. So we actually recommend that you have version 1.10 of the Sheffield to Derby route at least, because that has a lot of the assets on the Barrow Station stuff. So that way, otherwise you'll be missing stuff there. This is probably quite a big-ish. It is actually quite a big release for ourselves. So try and make sure everything goes smoothly into plan. It's been fun. It's been a bit of chasing around, making sure things are in the right place and stuff like that. It all came quite well, I think, in the end. Release night was a bit of a comical farce, but it got there in the end. If you were there for us on that on New Year's Eve, obviously you may have saw the Deltic scenario wasn't playing quite as well as we'd hoped and planned. That did actually run a couple of days after on the next stream, and it's all working fine now. I managed to figure out the issue, wasn't it? It turned out to be the rolling start was killing the scenario, so we removed that, and it seems to be working pretty well now. So that is in the route as well. Updated a little bit more as well, because I sorted the rolling stock on that. There was a slight issue on that, so that's another thing that's been updated. So this section is some of my favourite views as well. I mean, you get the rolling hills sprawling across the view there as you see out the front. It really is my favourite sort of scene. Depends on as well with the weather you have, because they stand out really well. If you have sort of a hazy day as well, just dominate the scene. So it's down to 20 just before the station. This is for the crossing as well. So Green Road itself is literally a basic shack. It's got a couple of buildings on there. I think I don't even think the building's actually in use really now. I think one might be a waiting building on the Millom side. I think this one actually is closed off now. I do remember coming here quite a while back on the local halls. We actually did join one of the services here, to be honest. I recall the building, I think on the right hand side is open, and I think the one on the left here is shut, but there is a shelter on the other side of this building, at platform 1. So now, obviously, there's loco stop signs and the DBSO as well. Fingers crossed we get a working DBSO one day. We can make full use of those. I'm just going to go and shift over here because that crossing is ultra loud. I'm going to get ourselves over here for the the second departure from the station, shall I say, not first. We've got 37 610 on the front, as I said before, and on the rear, I think it's 401. It is 401. So I said the route is 80 miles long. It also does include, I didn't actually mention before, the Morecambe branch, so it's Morecambe Heysham port section. That's been a bit up on the upgraded side as well. Those are as they were from West Coast Mail Shop, as I say. They've been refoliaged like with trees and new trackside clutter and stuff like that, just to bring them up to scratch a little bit more than what they were. Just give them a bit of a lease of life, really. The general gist, the name of things as well, is to continue upgrading the route and bringing it further north for you. The next plan of attack will be to do another 12 miles in terms of an extension, which will take scenery up as far as Ravenglass. So that'll give you another, I believe, 3 stations. So you got Bootle, Southcroft, and then Ravenglass, I think it is. Not sure if I was reading the right order, but I'm most certain it is those 3 stations off the top of my head. So it shouldn't be a strenuous task doing that, because mostly it's just fields. We've got a little settlement here and there. Rather than doing big massive chunks, so to speak, moving forward like we have done obviously in the first release, it's I think it's going to be more wise just to do a shorter section at a time, just bring it step by step, because from where we are at Millom to Carlisle, it's still another 80 miles worth of actual route. I'm speeding, I'm going to turn that off, it don't like him. Yeah, 80 miles, so it's a lot. It's a double what we've already got, so you can imagine how big that route would be when it's finished. I think all in it's about 4 hours to do a trip if you were doing from Preston to Carlisle around the coast. It's a crazy huge route, and obviously mixed in with the speeds and stuff as well, it just makes it a little bit longer. Now most stations on the route are kit bashed, bar a couple. For example, this being one that hasn't been kit bashed. This is a custom station which was done by Callum. Callum Green was part of the OTS. You may know him from stuff like the Wigan Southport route. He's also working on the Leeds to Manchester stuff with Mark. He put this one together as well. Just take you for a quick look around that as well in a moment when we stop. Sure we're all in there. There we go. I'm just going to pause that for a moment. So yeah, all custom this one. It's got a bit of a disused section here, and then it has the short platform, which is an island one here. It's got a lovely sort of waiting building and an attachment of a signal box to the back end here as well. I just love the style of it. It's really nice. Got a lovely 3D plate on there as well for the name, which has been done in wood. I was looking at this station when I was doing a lot of scenery. I was researching like the pictures as well for Callum to put this together. It used to actually have a canopy many years ago. It was quite a grand station, really. Not grand as in huge, but it was just amazing to see. You used to have a station canopy and more tracks here. There used to be a junction as well. The line, if I remember correctly, I'm not sure if it sort of went off in that direction. Either that direction or it was in that line there. But there used to be a junction off here. It went to Coniston many years ago. Also on top of this station, you've got the actual building that comes with it as well. So the house on the back, that also is a custom part of it, and is the also is the actual signal. Signal box, water tower, signal box. Well, we said that, but yeah, the water tower comes with it as well, which is just a nice extra little feature there. It was originally it was all kit bash, but then we was like, yeah, I think it needs something proper doing. So can't thank Callum enough, really. He's done a superb job. So the route as well is a mixture of semaphores and light signals, so bulb aspect. As far as I'm aware, I've not seen any LEDs as such yet. Don't think LED signals really exist on this line. So on top of the mainline stuff and the branches that we've mentioned, on top of them you do also get Barrow-Ramsden docks, which is a small little spur off at Salthouse Junction just to the south of Barrow. And on top of that you've got a remodelled West Coast Railways centre at Carnforth too. So all the track's been remodelled there, re-scenery and stuff, just to bring that up to scratch. There's a slight little giveaway as well to this being an area that used to have more tracks than one. You can tell with the gantry there used to be more on there. So next station is Cumbrian-Furness, which is just down the line here. It's not too far, it's like one long straight section. It goes around the curve into the station. So we get down to the bottom, it's 25 mile an hour for the limit. Just to mention as well, so you do get obviously Preston Station, Lancaster and Carnforth, which are the West Coast Main Line over Shap sections. You've got Bear Lane, Morecambe and Haysham Port. And then on the Furness section you've got Silverdale, Arnside, Grange over Sands, Kent's Bank, Cark and Cartmel, Ulverston. And then you've got Dalton and Roos before Barrow. Of course then onto the Furness line you have Ascombe, Cumbrian-Furness, Foxfield, Green Road and Millom. So there's great potential as well to be had with the route. You've got all the freight opportunities you can do. You've got the passengers, the rail tours, even some diverted stuff has been down in the past with freight. So there's all sorts you can do. You can get away with scenarios probably up to the early 90s, I would say as well. For the most part, the route really hasn't changed much. So yeah, you can get away with stuff like that if you can ignore some of the modern signs. There is also as well, if you come to eventually, if you do download the route and install it, you'll note that there's two manuals. One's the main route manual, and then there's a scenario supplement. What we do say, we recommend that you read the supplement document for the scenarios before you run a scenario. Each scenario is listed with its own requirements, so you can basically, rather than just installing the whole massive requirements of reskins, you can just download as and per you need them for that scenario. It's the same thing as well we did with the Harrogate Loot V2 stuff. It just found it as a lot easier and helps people. And it saves people on the download tons of stuff in one hit. I'm going to go over as well in a minute the controversial amount of requirements the route has. I do apologise in advance, but one of the things you need to remember as well is the route itself, of course, was merged in with a couple of others. So, for example, the Furness route, that had its own requirements as such, so we had to obviously include those in the list for that to work. Because the idea was we wasn't building the full scene from scratch. We brought routes in. So even though I sort of get guilted in and sort of made to feel bad because I've used so many things. End of the day, it's a project that was very close to my heart, and I wanted to make it as it was and how I thought it should be. And that meant me having to tick a few other routes here and there to get the right assets. It's one of them things. End of the day. So here you get the view of like Milloms over there somewhere, some of the distance. If you come all the way around there and come around the coast, skirted around. Just pause for a second. Nice little village. Got some lovely views over the hills as well. Because with it being on a hillside, we've tried to give it that view. So if you want to come down here, if you can actually sit down here, you can see the train come out of the station and it'll run around the bend over the bridge down the elevated curve there, and off to Foxfield. On the path here. So whilst the loco setting off requirements. So from Alan Thompson Simulation, you need the West Coast Main Line, Midlands and North West route. To access that, you need to be a paid subscriber to the website. Also, you need the Overhead Live Electrification Pack, which is for the OHLE. From Armstrong Powerhouse, the Norwich Great Yarmouth and Lowestoft route, also known as Wherry Lines. We believe the Steam version should work on top of the whether you have that or the website version. And before I go through the list a bit further, I did aim to hopefully have a lot of the wind turbines in the sea in the distance, because you can see a big, huge wind farm in the distance, but unfortunately TS just wouldn't render them in from where they were, so unfortunately they've had to be left out, which I'm quite gutted about. Moving on, you also need the 4-aspect simulation railway signage pack. Just Trains is the common library, which we recommend from Sheffield to Derby. Make sure that it is up to date if you already own it and haven't updated it for a while. From Steam Sound Supreme, the Shap, Stainmore and Eden Valley route. From the Steam Store, London to Brighton, Train Sim Academy, which already comes with the game, just need to make sure that's installed. West Highland Line Extension, Liverpool to Manchester. Construction Scenery Pack from Marketplace. North Wales Coastal, which is discontinued from Steam, but we know and believe for a fact you can still get hold of that from the TS 2018 route, which is on Humble Bundle. West Coast Mainline over Shap. The Woodhead route, which is the original Woodhead, not the new BR Blue version which came out more recently. Isle of Wight, the Platform Clutter Marketplace Scenery Pack. The Town Scenery Pack as well from Marketplace. South to Carlisle, West Coast Main Line Trent Valley, the Riviera Line, and the European Loco and Asset Pack. From UK Train Sim, you need the freeware scenery packs. There's a couple of IDs as well for some boats, which are optional. You don't have to have the boats if you don't want, but I think they make it look a bit better when you come around the docks. You do see the boats in there. And from Vulcan Productions, you need the grass and trees. The route itself comes in a very handy installer. so you don't have to do any drag and drop this time. It's literally double click, off you go. Just follow it as you go along. It'll walk you through. Dead simple. And then I just want to put some credits out there as well. So of course, from the OTS team, you've got Callum Green, Joshua 0910, Lewis Cox, Mark Walker, myself, Matt Cox, and Will Stead. Special thanks to go to DP Simulation, Ian McKay, Jack Ailes, Ben Yates, Bradley Milligan, Matthew Wilson, Ashley Clark, Phil Tear, Benedict Cooper, Pete Mitchell, Sean Gregory, Max Mortimer, and of course the OTS testing team. And then we've had just as well to put out there the asset permissions, which were from DP Simulation, Cunningham, Nubkins, Jad's Home, Phil Baines, Mundo, and 4 Aspect Simulations. I'm going to close that manual now. We're going to Ascom, which is just around this bend. I've probably been speeding a little bit because I've had the HUD turned off, but I've sort of been obviously reading as well and chatting, so as can be expected. So it's quite a short platform, and the section of this is disused as well as the overgrown. As long as you stop at the stopping board, you'd be right. You can pause that. So again, this station's got all the DVSO markers. There's only a couple of these that actually have that. There's this one and it's Green Road. No idea why the other ones don't have it, but they don't. So here's another one of the lovely signal boxes that's been made. The rest of the station's kit bashed, but we wanted to have the custom boxes. That was one of the main focuses in the asset department that we wanted to have because the route's got so many lovely boxes that still stand today and they're still in operation. We wanted to focus on that and make sure that we could reflect and make it just look as stunning and as stunning as possible, but make sure it boasted this wealth of history which has operated and manned the railway for so long. Sadly, got some annoying level crossing noises that don't stop, but it is what it is. So next stop's Barrow, so that will be as far as we take this video. The next part then will feature Barrow to wherever I get to. We'll see how we get on with that. I do have a scenario that goes all the way through from Barrow, so we'll probably do the scenario that probably goes as far as Carnforth on that, and then we'll probably save it there and then continue for the second part off that and make it a 3-parter most likely, I think. Probably is the most sensible option to keep the videos at a good length for watching. So we're heading down towards Park South. This is where you can obviously diverge off towards Barrow on the single line section, or continue along the Barrow Avoider bypassing Barrow and Roos and the docks. And this comes back out at Dalston Junction, sorry, not Dalston. Dalston's on the same line, but it's a lot further up. That's near towards Carlisle. We might see that one day in the route. Be nice, wouldn't it? That is the aim. I would love to get to Carlisle. Just to wait and see. Got to fit it in with the day job. And at the minute as well, the aim and plan is for me to do a little bit of work for Mark and Callum on their route, just to help them out a bit. So I think the general aim is to work around Huddersfield and Marsden. So this is the Park South box here on the left. Lovely box. Again, very typical style for the area. However, the garden shed I think is a little bit newer than the box. See the train snaking off around the bend there. So that's not on the single line section. We've got a couple of miles now on the single line section, which takes us up to Barrow. Doubles back up at Barrow, carriage siding just alongside there, and we're going to I think it's platform 3 as well at Barrow. Yeah, we're doing platform 3. So the crossing that comes up short, I think it's Sandscale crossing. That as well has got different speed in each direction. Now, in the direction we're travelling, it'll be 10 mile an hour because we're coming around the curve to it. If you're coming away from Barrow, going north, it will be, I believe it's 40 mile an hour. 35 for freight, 40 for passenger, so it's like DMUs. However, with the limitation of single lines, you can't have a speed for each direction, unfortunately. So it'll show 10 on the HUD for the direction for us, but if you're going north, it'll still say 10, but there is a speed board which is in there which still says 35 and 40, so just ignore the speeding, unfortunately. Well, then, unless you want to do 10, not get penalised for it, it's totally up to you, but it doesn't bother me. So I've got the right signs in there, I'm happy. No idea where there's a hay bale in the water over there. It was rolled away. So yeah, you can see the extent with the detail. We're trying to give it as much as possible without going OTT. So, I mean, you do get asset blocks and stuff like that. This section you can get away a bit more because it's literally fully tree lined. The water on the right side there as well. So that was one of the views, unfortunately, you could never really get on the loco holds because of the window bars that they used to put on the coaches. The window bars mainly, I believe, were for Whitehaven Tunnel because it was just so close in terms of like the walls for the train. That was to stop anyone from getting injured. So they put the safety bars on. But you could poke your phone out and get a little video of the thrash as you left the stations. So we're just coming up to Barrow now. So it's 15 mile an hour very shortly, just by the semaphores, which takes us into the platform. We'll have a quick look around at Barrow as well. So you've got the carriage signs on the right hand side there as well. You've got the custom signal box again, another one that's been done by Callum. I'll talk you through the station as well in a moment. The station's had a bit of a journey. So on the island platform, this used to be a through road as well many years ago. Not sure when it shut, became a bay, but that's what it is now. And you can still see the evidence of it obviously going through. You can see the curve. Right, so before we do anything, I'll just shut the cab down. I've got the doors open as well. We'll just change ends and then we'll have a look around. What we'll do is we'll drive the train off into the distance for the end of the video. Why not, eh? Train's actually off till 39 ages before we go. It's 2C49. No idea what the signal is. 39. Unfortunately, the semaphores don't have ID plates, but if you look on the number 9 map, they do have numbers there. It's just that the models from North Wales Coastal didn't have any numbers attached to them on a plate, which is really, really annoying because that most likely would be sat there, something like that. Would be cool if it maybe done as a custom asset and have them on it, like type them on, but can't promise anything like that. So, we'll take a look at the carriage signs quickly first. So quite a number of roads. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Used to be a few more, but they've been separated and they've lost their connections. But the track's still sort of here for some of it. A little head shunt over here as well. Used to be a lot longer. Used to go all the way down there, but again, 7 just made to this length, so it can fit a unit or something in there if it needs to. Got a fueler as well. You can fuel up. I believe anything that comes here, I think it's serviced at Newton Heath as such, like for maintenance, and they just fuel up here, stable overnight. So this is the box. Very nice. So the station itself has had an interesting little life up to now. It was originally started off with work by Wilstead, who you'll know from who works at JT with us. So he started the model off for us. Unfortunately, he had such a busy year, he was just unable to finish the model. But a few other people have helped out. So Bradley Milligan's working on finishing the actual full model. That may come in at some point. Not too sure what's going on with that just yet, but if it becomes a thing that is finished, we'll swap over. As currently, this model is actually kit bashed in some forms. The doors and windows and signs and everything's all been kit bashed on. So the walls, they've been done with texture blocks on top of the model, so it has the right shape and stuff, but it's just a little bit of a different way of doing things. But it came out really, really well. I was quite chuffed with it. It was quite a bit of a last minute decision to do this. I thought, let's get it out, let's get the route out and try and do something different with it, and it paid off, I think, in the end. We was all happy as a team with it. Jack did texturing works to the canopy. He managed to texture some of the stuff off there for the best he could with what he had. He's done a superb job. He managed to get all the glass in the window and stuff, and I think he did a belter on it. Really, really chuffed with it. Can't find Jack enough. Jack as well was involved with doing a lot of the station signage. He didn't do the ones at Barrow and anything up towards the north, like on the coast. Those ones were done by Callum quite a long time back, so we didn't need them ones doing. But yeah, Jack did a lot of the stuff which you'll see on the next video going further down the route. Just peeping through, that's a nice little screenshot, that. So yeah, the route which you'll see in the next video will go further that way, we'll go further south. All plaque on there as well for testing team, just as a special thanks to them guys. Don't think without them as well, the amount of bugs that they managed to find for us and we got fixed and that, they helped massively. Can't as well do this without mentioning big thanks to Kate as well. About Katie's, I'm going to say like choice words of help, and that she drove a train on the route as well, you may have seen on stream, but spurring me along as well to get it finished. Quite enthusiastic as well, really. She was quite excited for the route to be out and that, and she kept pushing to be released like as soon as possible. Just unfortunately we tried for a few times, we couldn't release it. I think we tried for her birthday, she would get out on her birthday, just didn't make it, unfortunately. Don't ask about the dog on the sofa, that was just a random thing. Jack put them in there, but it was quite funny. But yeah, so thanks to everyone who's made this route possible. And I hope everyone that's downloaded up now has downloaded and enjoyed it. I hope they're not having any issues with it as such. If you do have any problems, do drop us a message on the On-Track Simulation support, Facebook or the website email. We'll get back to you and help out as soon as best we can. Always will. I'll say part 2 will focus further going south for the route as well. So what we'll do is, how long have we got here with this? Quite a bit yet, we'll St Keys it. There we go. Just take a quick look around at Barrow as well. Don't want to go too far because that'll be the next video. You can see the route, how it goes around and it loops back on itself and heads back off that way. Let's go back down towards where the avoider goes. We've got the docks over there, but you can't see them properly because we're not loading the area, so you'll see them next time around as well. But again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and thank you very much for taking the time to come and have a look and have a download and have a play. Oh, hello, there's number 37 here for that. Yeah, it means a lot, and the kind words that we've been given as well. I mean, a lot of people have sent me private messages, which I've never had before. It overwhelmed me, to be quite fair, to read such big messages came in, just thanking. And that I got about the route, and just how much people are enjoying it, how much they've been wanting the route, and how much they've been like waiting for it. So it's just nice that we can have this out there, and you guys can finally get a play for yourselves. So what I'll do is I'll probably cut the video for a second, then I'll async it, and then we'll get the little drive on at the end in there for you to see. Again, guys, thank you very, very much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the route. Thank you. Please do take a look at the description for the link to download the route too. Again, make sure you read the requirements and the manual and everything before you get yourselves up and running. Take care, guys. Don't forget to catch on Twitch, twitch.tv/trainssim_TV on our usual days. We'll let you know what we're going to be having on the stream, what we've got planned on up in advance. Thank you very much, guys. Take care, and we'll see you very soon. Bye for now.